Donkey Kong 64. Really sucks. But there are a handful of good things about the game, like the creation of Chunky Kong. That 1 out of 200 golden banana objective is pretty fun. Being able to shoot lethal grapes at beavers, love that. And of course, I can't forget about the DK rap.
Here we go.
Man, I mean, what can I say about this thing? It's been listened to, talked about, teased, and memed on to HE double hockey sticks and back for over 20 years, but through it all, it's still here and I still love it. Tell me, what other game in existence opens up with a cheesy rap about all the main characters? Shout out to One Piece Grand Battle. What started out as a case of afternoon lunch tomfoolery between the devs would materialize into, for better and worse, one of the series' most well-known and defining musical tracks, despite it very much sticking out like a sore thumb compared to the mountain heap of beautifully melancholy tunes. Whether you've played the source material or not, chances are you've experienced this work of art in some shape or fashion. The legacy this silly monkey rap has gone on to create and inspire is nothing short of baffling. Remixes, contests, spiritual successors, and more. And of course, I'm here to talk all about it, because how else are you supposed to spend your valuable yet limited time on this earth?
Oh yeah.
Stupid monkey.
First and foremost, before I start reading off of various wiki pages and internet articles, I want to give my own opinions on this infamous rap. Insane idea, right? Despite being born the very year of DK64's release, thus being a bit too young to play it as it was fresh out the oven, thanks to having an older brother who did get to do that very thing, I eventually would go on to play it secondhand as a wee lad. So I do have the vague memories of sitting through the song every once in a while every time it got popped into the 64. And I thought it was pretty funny. Nothing more, nothing less. It was just an amusing little opening. Nowadays though, in retrospect, I have a newfound admiration for its utter brilliance. Hear me out. Is the rap corny? Without question,
Yes.
obviously. But I think if you can get over the sheer ridiculousness of it all, the song actually does unironically give a nice introduction for all the playable characters, each one getting their own dedicated verse that shows off their individual quirks and whatnot. This was much appreciated since, keep in mind, 3 out of the 5 Kongs, Tiny, Lanky, and Chunky, were brand new to the series. So, getting a quick look of their personas, with Chunky in particular being gut-bustingly hilarious, well before stumbling upon and unlocking otherwise unfamiliar monkeys in the adventure proper, was pretty neat. It's like, hey, there's Tiny, I know her, she can climb up trees. And wouldn't you know it, she definitely can do that. Showcasing personality through their characters is sort of a rare specialty, and spending 3 minutes completely shoving that personality in your face, whether you like it or not, is one way to get it across. What I'm saying is that every game might want to consider opening up with their own musical number, just food for thought. I could go on and yabber about some of the more well-known and powerful lyrics across the rap about Lanky's funny faces, Chunky picking up boulders with moderately no effort, Diddy being in the mood. Yet one line that I entirely may be looking too deep into is the emphasis on Donkey finally being back. Now, it was 3 years since the last home console DKC game, such an eternity, right? Though I'd like to imagine Rare themselves were admitting, yeah, the main character and face of the franchise that's name is at the start of every game's title, well, we know he was hardly in the last 2, but hey, he's back now, bigger, faster, and stronger too. I can't even begin to imagine someone like Mario, Sonic, or really any main character not being playable in back-to-back mainline games, but I digress. Alright, so the rap, to me at least, is a fun time that low-key serves a meaningful purpose, ignoring the absurdity. Although, none of that really answers the elephant of a question in the room of why. I mean, the last thing anyone would expect after booting up their copy of the new Donkey Kong game in '99 was a full lyrical onslaught about bananas, pineapples, and various monkeys. How did this even come to be? What in the world were they thinking? Well, I'm about to tell you right now. Despite the blame for this thing's creation seemingly always getting thrown towards Grant Kirkhope, the main composer of various rare titles including DK64, the idea of a rap intro was actually sparked on by the lead game designer George Andreas. And I'm probably saying his last name wrong, so might be if so. Harkening back to the original Donkey Kong Country, where the intro both visually and audibly ushered in a new age of DK, separating it from the ancient arcade classics of yesteryear, he wanted to start a similar fresh slate for the franchise on the N64. Now, at the end of the day, whatever justification was needed to get this glorious song made is fine by me, but I gotta say, that doesn't really make much sense, or at least it doesn't come off that way. See, there is a clear and huge era transition from the arcade Donkey Kong to the Super Nintendo Country, a literal whole new jungle world to explore, whereas DK64 is more or less, emphasis on less, just throwing Country onto the next console. It's the same Donkey & Co, just in 3D, but anywho. Being heavily inspired by the likes of Run DMC's It's Like That remix by Jason Nevins and the general rise of the genre towards the end of the 20th century, Andreas's desire for a monkey-based rap was born. He'd write out all the lyrics, and alongside other rare legend Chris Sutherland, programmer and voice actor of both Banjo and Kazooie, they'd give it their all on the vocals as the main rappers. Various other rare staff pitched in for the chorus, while poor Kirkhope was strung along, cooking up the beats and putting it all together. I'm of course being a wee bit dramatic, but in spite of the whole shebang obviously being meant as a lighthearted joke, you know, a song rapping about monkeys, critics and gamers alike at the time were ripping it a new one, thinking Rare was for reals trying to take a crack at a serious piece of hip-hop, you know, with a song rapping about monkeys. IGN went as far to say that sitting through it more than once may require you seeking professional help.
Wow, what an asshole.
Of course, all this mockery ultimately fell back onto Kirkhope as the game's composer. Yet, even with over 20 years of jokes and ridicule slung his way, he seems to have a playful, love-hate relationship with the rap, going as far to cheekily apologize for creating such a bloody awful thing. He's British if you couldn't tell. So yeah, it's safe to say that Americans with their ridiculous gripes thought it was embarrassing. But what about other parts of the world? Namely, non-English speaking territories, because the rap is still in every regional variation of DK64, but it was never dubbed over in their corresponding main languages, not even the sing-along subtitles. So I could only imagine the utter bewilderment the Japanese audience had turning the game on for the first time. Or maybe they loved it, I don't know. Unless there's some old school forums I'm missing, the closest thing you can look at to see their thoughts on the matter is sorting through the hundreds of comments left on this Japanese upload of the rap posted to YouTube in 2009. There's a lot of nonsensical gibberish that may be attributed to wonky Google translating, but a common sentiment I did find is having no idea what was being said throughout the song, yet still loving it anyways. Truly a piece of music so good that it breaks past any and all cultural barriers. Although, peeps in the East weren't completely left in the dark, as the entire rap was translated and put towards the beginning of the game's manual, which, by the way, I just want to take a long second to absolutely gush over the Japanese manual, because gee willikers, this is about the best daggone manual I've ever seen. There's a buttload of info dumped onto you while still being easy to follow through and read, since everything is laid out so neatly and distinctly, with the use of various colors and even cutouts of specific in-game frames that match up with what it's talking about. It puts our American manual to complete shame as you flip through the pages to see the same ugly jungle background on repeat that'll strain your eyes as you attempt to read the small white text. Graphic design is my passion. But the English manual does carry on the DK tradition of Cranky giving his usual old sarcastic banner, and it's cranked up to an 11 here. Genuinely pretty funny stuff that, from what I can tell, the Japanese manual cuts out completely. Tangent aside, if for some reason your manual disintegrated upon first touch, well, don't worry, because none other than creator of the Mother series had your back with posting the translated lyrics onto his very own website back in the day. Frankly, his finest contribution to gaming. JK, of course, Earthbound is my favorite game despite never playing it. Shortly following DK64's release, Nintendo of America noticed all the roasting running amok towards the rap and said, "Alright, hold up now, let's see you goobers do any better," and proceeded to host the DK Rap Attack contest. Anyone with perhaps a little too much self-confidence could download the provided instrumental version of the song and write out a brand new set of lyrics, still based around Donkey Kong 64, obviously, and record themselves performing it for you. Nintendo, I mean. The absolute admiration I have for the judges of this contest is through the roof, as they probably had to endure the type of cringe we could only dream of. But hey, somebody had to win, and said winner's music videos were posted for all to bear witness to on DKTV. This isn't to be confused with that extremely weird, niche, and outright disturbing French show of the same name. Rather, it was a small promotional website made for the launch of DK64. Going hard on the TV theme, there's a good handful of channels to flip through that each have their own programming that either tell you something about the game itself or just host a fun little activity. Now, me myself growing up as the age of old internet websites reached its peak before fizzling out to the advent of dirty yet oh so convenient apps. Anything having to do with this realm instantly flips my inner, "Oh yeah, this is interesting," switch, though sadly, as to be expected with early-ish internet content, a majority of the stuff DKTV hosted is considered lost media. All that remains nowadays are a couple of screenshots and crappy flash games. Any type of media erasure is sad to see, but this case is particularly disappointing given that they made the DK Gorilla Project, the mandatory early 2000s Blair Witch spoof. The final episode climaxed with showing some dude in that infamous creepy house setting playing DK64, which I swear I have vivid memories of seeing at some point in the distant past, like it's super clear in my head, but alas, it is gone. Tangent yet again aside, like I said, one of these channels broadcasted the winner's music videos. Nowadays, while we do know all of their names, sadly, outside of maybe old personal collections, these raps have been lost to time.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Except for the grand winner of Jeff Weber's. I had to do a double take to make sure that wasn't the main dude off of Community's name, because I hate that show. Bro has MC energy in a community college. Like, bro, what? That's just ridiculous. I suppose if anyone's were to be salvaged and preserved, it should be his, since, you know, he won. But part of me really wanted to see the runner-ups just to sniff out what kind of competition Jeff had, or if he just blew everybody out of the water. I say that because, honestly, his video isn't as bad as you'd probably expect. I mean, like, it's still a nerdy white guy rapping about Donkey Kong, so don't expect any mic-dropping double entendres, but he does perform the entire song in one clean take with lyrics that aren't half bad, you know, for what it is.
Diddy is quick, tiny is small, chunky is real big, and lanky is tall.
There's even a dude in a monkey mask going absolutely bananas the entire time, so A+ for presentation. We can sit here all day poking fun, calling it cringe, but at the end of the day, Jeff still got a brand new N64, brief albeit eternal internet fame, and a free trip to Nintendo of America's headquarters in Redmond, Washington, where he and the Monkey Man got to ride around in a limo, take a tour of the place, play top secret games, record their rap in a professional studio, and take home a CD of the final product. All that for a cheesy rap, you gotta respect it. After DK64, and by proxy the rap itself, came and went, you may have expected it to be forgotten about and buried deep within the population's inner mind waves as that really weird thing from that one Donkey Kong game. But by some strange stroke of fate, it would somehow continue to live on across many different forms into the future. The rap was soon featured on Da Banana Bunch, the European CD release of DK64 soundtrack. Very hip and cool name, I must admit. A little fun fact, Da Banana Bunch is actually the track name of the rap itself as well, so there's something to throw at your uneducated mutuals next time they go around calling it the monkey rap. There's also a bonus remixed track of the rap included, and it kinda sucks, like, a lot. It's rather lazily extended out by spamming the main chorus bits randomly throughout, while at the same time throwing this loud, obnoxious beat on top that drowns out the originals. The much more famous and well put together remix of the rap came a couple of years later from Super Smash Bros. Melee. Now, step back and remember that these were the days before a single series, let alone stage, in Smash got a bucket load of musical options slapped onto it, most of Melee stages only having 1 or 2 max. So, the decision to pick the DK rap from all other Donkey Kong songs up to that point was certainly a choice of all time. How is it though? Well, I'm sure we all can agree that nothing will ever beat the OG, yet surprisingly, there's a split feeling in the room for this Smash remix. Some call it terrible, while others give it more of a solid I used to also be quite down on it, but over the years it's certainly grown on me. Of course, with Smash being a high-octane fighting game, the original's relatively slow and fixed tempo wouldn't translate that well, so the sporadic kicked-up tune fits a lot better. Each of the Kong's individual verses have a totally different feel to them, which was sort of a missable aspect of the original with the usage of unique instruments for every section that rubbed off their own personality. But it's night and day comparing the two. For example, Chunky has some groovy Louis Armstrong vibes going on, while Diddy's verse was dipped straight into a McDonald's deep fryer. According to a Melee dev roundtable, that may not have been totally intentional, as they noted producing the Monkey Rap remix was a bit of a troublesome task. Apparently there were computer malfunctions that made it tough to record and sync up the new beat with the new vocals performed by James W. Norwood Jr. That's why some of the faster paced sections like Tiny and Diddy's sound higher pitched than the rest as they try to cram in all the lyrics. And it does give it sort of a special charm to it all, you could say. While the beat and flow of the song had greatly been overhauled, on the lyrical side of things, it remained pretty much the exact same, except for the infamous change of the word hell to heck when describing what kind of guy Chunky is. Putting aside the fact that it may or may not have ruined the entire song, it is ironic to point out that Melee is rated T for teens, whereas DK64 got slapped with an E for little babies. If Shadow can spat out dams every other sentence, I think they could have gotten in one hell at least.
Where's that fourth Chaos Emerald?
Anyways, good news for the rap's longevity. Smash is well known for recycling its content, including the music, for the following entries. So it squeezed its way into Brawl, Smash 4, and Ultimate. However, apparently having tons of songs takes up tons of space, so it ended up eventually getting squeezed itself in Smash 4. Both of Lanky and Chunky's verses were cut out completely to accommodate. How sad. If you need a moment to cheer up, you can still always listen to the remix in its full glory in Donkey Konga, alongside other classic DK tracks like All the Small Things and Bingo. Flash forwarding many years later, the rap in its original form would make a couple of brief cameos. First up, in the Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle Donkey Kong Adventure DLC trailer, a Rabbid version of Cranky Kong starts to play the beginning of the rap before getting trolled by Rabbid Peach. That is an actual sentence that I can say. This is obviously a reference to the rap itself, which is cool, but it was even cooler to have Rabbid Cranky on the turntables, which is of course how it was in the original as well. Very nice. Secondly, and perhaps the most surprising piece of media the rap managed to find its way into, is the freaking Mario Bros. Movie. Yes, the one that grossed over $1 billion gajillion. It's short-lived, yet the starting beat and chorus of the rap set on repeat is used as Donkey Kong's wrestler-esque chant of sorts before fighting Mario. Honestly, just bravo to whoever made that call. I'm sure hundreds, if not thousands, of adults who took their children to see the movie in theaters were totally jump scared by this part. I do wish it was left as a complete surprise though, as shortly before the movie's release, its Twitter page dropped this Seth Rogen reaction video to the OG rap, where he lets that bombshell slip while also calling it objectively one of the worst rap songs of all time.
This is objectively one of the worst rap songs of all time.
I mean, he's not wrong, but he's not allowed to say that. Outside of anything directly Donkey Kong or Nintendo related, there was a spiritual successor to the monkey rap created for ukulele. Now, for those unaware, ukulele was a Kickstarter project led by Platonic Games, a studio mainly composed of former Rare staff that sought to manifest the old soul of 3D collectathons like Banjo-Kazooie for the modern audience. The initial Kickstarter goal was an outstanding success that led to many stretch goals that were also smashed out of the park, one of the last being a Grant Kirkhope rap video. They kept their word, and lo and behold, on April 1st, 2017, a brand spanking new, horrifyingly cheesy video game rap was delivered into our YouTube sub boxes. Kinda like getting a pipe bomb in your mailbox. It shouldn't take me to tell you that this is a direct tribute to the DK64 rap in just about every facet, all the way from the lyrics describing the main characters, some of which are lifted straight from the past, to everyone dancing around in a black void. Even the melody, or whatever musical term it's called, is nearly one-to-one with the original. I can't deny that it is somewhat charming, but I also can't deny that it's really bad. Like, I know it's supposed to be bad, just like the DK rap, not to mention the video was uploaded on literally April Fool's Day, so I'm not calling it a bad song or anything, but I don't know, it's just kinda not that funny to me. There's no real standout lines or anything of the sort that made the monkey rap appealing. It's just, well, cringe. But maybe we're just in the part of its life cycle where everyone thinks it's horrible and 20 years from now, everybody will come around to loving it. Yeah, that'll definitely happen. The lamest part is that it's not even in the game itself, rather only uploaded online, which is mondo uncool. At least DK64 had the balls to put it front and center, being the first real thing you see when turning the game on. Alas, in Yuka's sequel, The Impossible Lair, if you stand outside the duo's home and do XYZ, the rap will start to play. Some mondo coolness has been partially restored.
Hey man, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I was ready 20 years ago.
Okay, let's do this.
Here we go.
You know, you could have a snazzy Smash remix, be featured in spin-offs, spiritual successors, and even a blockbuster film. But the greatest achievement that will forever cement your legacy is becoming an internet meme. I think it's clear as day that the source material here is plenty meme-worthy already, just saying the actual lyrics like coconut gun, he has no grace, and one hell of a guy. But thanks to the rap having speech, let alone being a full song, it gave birth to an utter goldmine and wacky shenanigan potential. You have the ancient YouTube poop art form of word mixing to make new lyrics that you can often bet are as bizarre as you could possibly imagine.
Put your hands up, I'm promising you. Give me damn money, or I will shoot.
An offshoot of that are entire song mashups like Ape on Me, Remember the Crew, Congaluya, DK Rhapsody, and Holding Out for a DK. Shout out to Ditzy Flama for going above and beyond with bangers like DK Thriller Night and All I Want for Christmas is the DK Crew. There are more classic memes such as Steamed Hams, but it's dubbed by the DK Rap,
Is that in there?
or the Family Guy intro, but it's the DK Rap. How about the DK Rap, but the models change every second? The DK Rap in alphabetical order.
He's hot.
The DK Rap, but every noun is a
Coconut gun. So listen up, coconut gun.
the DK Rap, but it's set in the medieval age.
Walnuts, peanuts, pineapple smells, grape smells, oranges and coconut shells.
Lanky Kong listening to the rap for the first time.
You guys told me to act goofy for the video. I didn't know you were gonna act like that's my thing. I'm a normal guy, I do IT work.
The DK Rap, but it's 18 years later.
And then there's Chunky. He's dead.
Whew. Whew, yeah, it's safe to say that the collective crazy minds of internet goers have taken the original intent of the rap's joke to places I'm sure the Bloods at Rare would never have dreamt of in 1999. And I believe that's a fine place to leave it at. If you think about it, we've really come full circle in a way. What started as an innocent inside joke between creative minds would go on to get panned by the public, only for that same public to turn around years later and create their own jokes for all to enjoy. By this point, any and everyone should know that the DK rap is just a silly little song from a game about silly little monkeys. It has undoubtedly forever left a permanent mark on the franchise, never knowing when it'll creep back into the public consciousness yet again. But that doesn't have to be such a bad thing, now does it? Alright, Cranky, take it to the fridge. What does that even mean, by the way? Take it to the fridge. I don't know, man. I think that perfectly sums up the DK rap and its just absurdity perfectly right there. So I'm not even going to question it, even though I did like 10 seconds ago. I take that back. Take it to the fridge, man.